Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. All right. Let's go. So we'll be starting the workshop now, and then let's go. So we'll be starting the workshop now. All right. So if you can see me, I'm trying to get more people on board. Trying to get more people on board. All right. Please, in the next 2 to 3 minutes, we'll kickstart. Let's see if we can get more people to join. And then if you're here, please, in the next 2 to 3 minutes, we'll kickstart. Let's see if we can get more people to join. And then if you're here, please, All right, let's go. All right, let's go. Let's go. The other time we were talking on what US is all about, right? So we are just going to be touching more. So we're just going to be talking more on what US is all about. So today I'm going to be talking more on US on UI. So basically, I explained UX to us in a broad sentence, and I was trying to tell us that UX basically has to do with the user interface, right? So when we have a good understanding of what user interface is all about, right, it helps shapes our design. A good understanding of what user experience is all about, it helps shapes our design. But then when you come to the concept of user interface, okay, user interface has to do with, like according to my screen, you can see it has to do with the look and feel of your application. In other words, your the feel your app has to give. Every application must give a feeling. Like I was just talking in the last workshop, if you are designing a TikTok application, TikTok app was created to give you this fun type where you come, you watch videos, they hold you down. But if you're coming on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is trying to sell you the feel of branding. So you are being put into test to understand what is your brand, what are you selling, what is the feel the app is giving you. I'm a very big user of Piggyverse. So most times when I tell people that Piggyverse is selling a concept of a quality feel, it's not just a saving application. So your UI presents the feeling of the app, right? So it goes in two ways: what people are seeing, what people are feeling. And most times I talk about it, that is the presentation and the interactiveness of a product. So what is that product? The product is what you're designing. Whatsoever you're designing is a product. So if you are trying to design something, you need to understand the UI about it. So UI is a very broad term. So when we come to UI and UX, like I said before, UX contains a very good potential. More people think product design is all about coming to design, but you're having the wrong perception of it. Product design is not all about just coming to design. Product design is taking in mind what your target audience wants you to do. Like I said before, if you want to make money from product design, you must be willing to understand what your audience are looking out for. If you do not have a broad understanding of what your audience are looking out for, you will miss the whole concept. Now, this course is a very broad course, very broad course. Most places UIUX are usually 5 months, 6 months, because the concept of US, where we'll talk about user flow, user research. We're also going to talk about design process, design method, design brief. We're also going to go into understanding the hypothesis, problem statements, the UI sitemap, where you also going to talk about user flow, user story. So US is so most people don't want to understand that the brain behind a successful UI is the UX. And even UI is also broad, because UI has to go into animation. You also have to understand the concept of interactivity, also understand the concept of responsiveness, because now and then knowing that your design should evolve as you are evolving. What do I mean? For every dispensation, design has evolved. How Facebook was looking 2010, that is 10 years or 15 years ago, is not how Facebook is looking now. Why? Facebook have tried to evolve with the dispensation you are in. So as a UI UX designer, you should be able to evolve your design with the dispensation you are in. Okay, let's take it now. Most times, any person designing an application in this age and dispensation must take into cognizance that you are designing for dark mode. Why? Most applications have dark mode because currently people want to people want to people now are working with dark mode features for their app. Now, so in other words, if you're a designer and you do not understand how to design for dark mode and know the concept of toggle button, you would miss out. Another concept that is going on also in the design field is understanding the concept of also not just designing for dark mode basically, but also having a responsive design. What do we say is responsive design? Your design can look very good from website down to tablets and down to mobile. So I just want you to understand the broad understanding of what you're doing in UIUX, because most times people don't get a full concept of what UIUX is all about. So that would help shape your understanding of what UIUX is all about. All right. So like I said before, user interface has to do with the feel, the concept of feel, and then it also sells the concept and the experience a user gets while using a product. The concept of feel, and then it also sells the concept and the experience a user gets. Did you smash this glass? So it has to do with the interactiveness of your app. All right. So I just want us to get a broader concept of what it's all about. All right. So I'm not gonna go and show us a good concept of what user experience is, a user interface is all about. Well, we're gonna be designing something now, so that would help us understand what it's all about. Okay. So let's go to Figma. So we're going to be talking on components, and then we're also going to be talking on some basic concept of what we'll be designing, because when we talk on component is basically used for interaction in your UI UX design. And then there's also, we have component, we have responsiveness, right? So I'm just going to take us through some basic concepts so that we can all be on the same page. All right. So if you're following, react in the chat box that you're following. Alright, so if you're following, react in the chat box that you're following. All right. Are we there? If you're there, react. All right. Okay, so let's go into what we have for today. So the concept of UI is I'm just going to be talking and designing something now to get us into the brain. Remember, I explained the basic tools we use on your UIUX basically. All right. So these are the basic tools. So I'm going to do, remember I was talking about the concept of toggle button. I was talking about the concept of toggle button, right? Where toggle button is what switches you from light to dark mode. So I'm going to be showing how to create a toggle button here. So it's just going to be easy. All right. So this is a shape tool. You come. I explained what shape tools are, right? So you're going to come and I'm going to create a shape like this. Please follow me. All right. So this is your shape tool. It's going to come like this. So when your shape tool comes like this, right? So you're going to drop it here. All right. So I just want to make sure you're following. So the shape tool is like this. And then there's what we call corner radius. It's usually located here. So let's give it a corner radius of 20. All right. So there's a corner radius of 20. All right. Remember, we're trying to create a toggle button, right? So that's a corner radius of 20 here. So since this is a corner radius of 20, we're also going to come here. Then the eclipse tool, remember I showed us how to create all of that, right? So this is the eclipse tool. Please, if you are just joining and you don't know how to create that, please watch the first recorded class. All right. So I want to give this an orange too. Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to blend this so that it fits the toggle button well. So let's give it 25. Let's give it 27. All right, so perfect. All right, so this was a rectangle, this was a circle. All right, so we're going to collect the text tool now. I'm going to write something. I'm going to write on. So I'm going to increase it to bold. I want us to be able to see what we are doing. All right, so let's give it 30. All right, so basically we've just, this is text, this is a rectangle, this is a circle. All right, so what you do, you will highlight all of them basically. So once you highlight all of them, you come down here, you will see create component. So I'm just going to create component now. So we've created a component. Remember I tell you when I was saying something, you use component basically for interaction on your design. So if you want your design to have a good interaction, component is basically used for that. Right? So if you're following and you just you understand what I'm doing, please react in the chat box. I want to make sure a lot of us are following. Are we there? If you're there, react. If you're following the chat box and you understand what I'm doing, drop a comment, drop a comment. Let me see if we're following. Drop a comment. Let me see if we're following. All right, so basically we just created a toggle button on the this, and I want to know if we are following. So we just created a toggle button. So basically I said toggle buttons are what are being used to switch from light mode to dark mode. All right, so they're basically used to switch from light mode to dark mode. This is what we use to switch from light mode to dark mode. All right, so what we did first was we created a shape down to a circle, and then we inserted the text, and then the next thing we did was we highlighted everything and created components. So is that easy? So you highlight and create component. All right, so once we've created this component, there's what we call variant. Now a variant is a child of the father. Let's say component is the father, variant is the child. So now the moment you create component, the next thing you have to do is add variant. All right, so you add variant when after you've created component. Do we get? So when you've created component, the next concept for you is to add variant. So when you come here, you come over here, you will see the concept that will tell you add variant. So when you add variant, variant is a duplicate of the component. So when you talk about duplicate, duplicate is, okay, this is the father, then a replica is the variant. So when we click on add variant now, so you see something like this. So and this will be our toggle off. So I'm going to rename here. So please follow me. So you come down to this guy here. Let's rename him as off. Then this guy here is default, but let's name him as on. All right. So let's change the color of off. So you come down here. All right. So we're gonna give it an orange. Then we're gonna give the circle a purple. So let's now rename this off. All right. So this will go like this. So you come over to this circle, come here and align it by this side. This is where to stay. Then we're going to take the text itself and come here and align it. Right. All right. So let's adjust it. Okay. This is perfect. All right. If you're following, indicate. All right. So if you're following, kindly react in the chat box. So we just created a toggle button. So basically, I said toggle buttons are what are being used to switch. Okay, so let's go. So this is it. So the next thing we're going to be doing now is we're now going to come here on the circle. This is it. So the next thing we're going to be doing now is we're now going to come to the circle here. You're going to prototype. So we're going to come to the concept here. They call prototyping. You switch it down to this. All right, so it's going to be on click. So here you're going to change it to smart animate. It's going to be on easing. All right, so now gonna come to this circle here, type it here, on click, smart animate. So here it's gonna be ease out. All right, so once you're done, whenever you create a layer, right, and you have created, and when you create a component, where you are likely to see the component you just created is at asset position. So there's what we call asset. Assets are generally a interactive component. So whenever you've created something in the layer are just shape. Asset is where you see the interaction itself. So when if we come to asset now, we're at assets. So let's go down so that we can pick our component. All right, so let's go. Okay, this is what we're looking for. So we're going to bring out the component. It's usually called the instance. All right, so this is it. So once it's here, we're going to create a frame. Now I'm going to put the component inside the frame. So let's preview what we just did. All right, so if you're following, you should be getting what I'm doing. All right, so if you're following, you should be getting what I'm doing. All right, so if you're following, you should be getting what I'm doing. All right, so if you're following, you should be getting what I'm doing. Okay, so when you click on something like this, you should have this effect here. So you can see the toggle button is switching. So the toggle button is switching. So this is it on light mode. So whenever it's light, it's like this. Whenever it's dark, it's like this. All right. So this is what we call toggle button interaction. So let me run it again. Okay. So this is actually good. All right. So perfect. So I'm also going to be talking more on, because interactions are complex. It's somehow fast. So let's make it slower. So let's make it slow. So I'm gonna make it is out 500. The amount of speed you give is the amount of the slower it becomes, right? So if you make it higher, it stays higher. Okay, so let's run it here again. Thank you. Can we see that it's not looking more beautiful, not fast, it's taking its time and all of that? All right. Okay, this is amazing for me. I love this. All right. So let's do one more stuff on components. All right, so let's do something else. This has been done. So the drag button, especially if you're using an iPhone or you're using an Android, is basically used where you use to drag things from one place to another. All right, so for some of us that know how this works, it's somewhere where you go, then you drag things from one certain position to another position. So it's called the drag button. All right, so I'm going to show us how it's being done. Please follow me. So let's say I have a rectangle now. Okay, so this is a rectangle. Please to remember, I told a shortcut for rectangle is R. All right, so this is a rectangle now. So let's go. Okay, this is cool. So I'm gonna select this to become purple. So we're gonna duplicate. Control D to duplicate. Control V to paste. Control C to copy. All right. So let's reduce this to this level. Okay, which is perfect. So let's give this white. Okay. All right. So we're gonna create a circle now. It's more like an eclipse. That will be here. Okay. So it's gonna stay here. Okay. All right. So this is it. So we're going to just give it this color. All right. So once we have done that, what we'll do is we're now going to highlight it like this, and then we're going to create component. So we're going to come here and create a component. All right. So remember our theory. Whenever you create a component, if you want to have a duplicate, you must add variant. All right. So that's what we call variant. Variant is the parent of a component. All right. So I'll come here now and I will add variant. So when I add variant, what I'll do is I come to the circle, and then you move the circle, move the circle. All right, so let's just move it like this. Perfect. Then we're coming here, we're also moving the shape. Okay, so which is perfect. Okay, this is looking good. So let's reduce this so it stays within shape. Okay. All right, so once you're done there, what you do next is to prototype. So you're going to prototype it to this, so it will be, instead of on click, it will be on drag. All right, so we're also using smart animate 500, but here is starting, so it's going to be on ease in. So we're also going to come here and prototype this to this, so it's also going to be on drag. So here to be ease out 500. All right, so I'm going to bring this now. So this is going to come here. Remember I told you is on the assets, you pick the interactive component. All right, so we're going to put this here. So let me change this from white. Let's give it a darker level of white. Then I'm going to put this inside. Okay, so perfect. So this white is too bright. Let's make it 40. Okay, thank you. So let's preview. All right, so this is me. As I'm taking it, you can see. Then if I'm returning it, it's following my hand. So the way my hand is going forward, it's going backward, forward, and backward. All right, so this is how you do your sound and your sound on your sound play system. Okay, so this is just the tip of the iceberg on what we can do in UI, right? So what I'm basically just explaining here is just the concept of what I'm basically explaining here is just some interactions we do in UI design, but UI is very much more complex than this. All right, so this explains it better. So yeah, so this will allow us have a very good understanding of the whole concept of UIUX. So UIUX is basically beyond this. So it's very basically beyond this, but then this gives you a better understanding of what we are doing in UIUX. All right, so this covers the foundation parts of UIUX. So this is interaction, but then if you want to grow as a designer, you need to understand the arrangemental system of UIUX. But I just want to show us what interaction is on UIUX. All right, so thank you for joining this live. We'll talk when we see more. Please, we'll be having another live coming up later tomorrow or next tomorrow. Looking forward to the timing that will work for us. Stay tuned and have a good day.